Welcome to CBC Connect. I'm Matt Malone, and today we're talking about buying your first home, what to expect, how to prepare, and how CBC Bank can guide you through the mortgage process with confidence. If home ownership is on your horizon, now's the time to be listening to CBC Connect. And we have a special guest with us today, Miss Brittny Hammock, the mortgage loan officer at CBC Bank, one of our newer additions to the CBC Bank team. Brittny, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Appreciate it very much. And Brittny is going to talk to us about mortgage philosophy. We're going to get deep into it.
That sounds intimidating.
Yeah. So however deep you can get into something that is only supposed to last about 10 minutes long.
Okay.
We're going to discuss mortgage philosophy, and we're going to sum it all up and answer all the world's questions in 10 short minutes. Brittny, once again, welcome to the podcast. Tell us a little more about what you do here at CBC Bank and maybe a little bit of background information about you professionally and what brought you to CBC Bank.
Yes. Here in the mortgage department, we do your traditional 30-year, 15-year mortgages, refinances for conventional, FHA, VA, USDA loans. We can refinance construction loans into those and just try to get you good rates. You can buy down your rate, just different opportunities there. I have been in the mortgage industry for roughly 6 years, but I've been in banking for over 20 years and glad to be back working here at CBC.
When you say back working at CBC,
yes,
you started here.
Yes, I was actually a teller here in college 2 decades ago. So it's good to be back.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fun fact there. I think I knew that, but I had forgotten that you started here at CBC as a teller, and look at you now.
I know there's still some employees here that were here long ago.
So you, it's been fun having you back for all of them, I'm sure, and fun for you to be back as well. Let's just jump into some of the topics here. Tell us about what someone should do if they're thinking about buying their first home. What are some things that they should take into account and be thinking about?
As a general rule, it's always good to prepare probably 4 to 6 months ahead of time. As cliche as it is, saving your money obviously is huge. If you have liquid assets and reserves, it really does make an impact on qualifying, on getting a good rate. In addition, any kind of loan payments that you make, always make them on time. Credit card payments, if you can keep your credit card balances low and keep that minimal payment low, it really does affect your ability to qualify for your debt to income ratio. It in turn increases your credit score, which is huge. And a lot of people underestimate how much their credit score can affect just qualifying and then also for their rate. The higher credit score for some of our loan types really makes an impact on the rate that you're going to be able to get on your mortgage.
What is some advice you can give someone in terms of looking to build their credit score?
Make your payments on time and then keep your balances low. If you have a credit card with, $20,000 on it and your minimum payment is outrageous, well, one, it's hard to make those payments,
Sure.
but also it does lower your credit score if your revolving account balances are too high.
Let's talk about first-time buyers and what are some things that they might underestimate about the process that might catch them off guard or they might overlook going into the process.
People usually underestimate the documentation that they need for a loan. Once we have a full loan package where we have W-2s, pay stubs, tax returns, things like that, we can get moving quickly. We can close a loan in less than 30 days if we have everything together. So if you can have all that prepared, a lot of times on the front end, when you find your dream home, you can just jump in and go ahead and grab it with a pre-qualification letter.
That documentation process, you said you've been doing this now for 6 years, this part of banking. That documentation process, I would imagine, has changed over the last 6 years in terms of just the digital aspect and some of those types of things?
It does evolve quite a bit. The more fraud there is, the more documentation that's required, and just explanations for different, things that go on in people's lives, selling their business or making life changes, switching jobs, things like that always require a lot of extra documentation that a lot of times people don't think about. And then also just going out, people will go out and get car loans or sign on loans with other people and not realize, how much that's going to affect their ability for them personally to get a mortgage later.
Something that probably we should have talked about at the beginning, but I'm just thinking about it as we're talking here, and I wanted to touch on it and make sure that we didn't miss the opportunity for you to tell people about the best way for them to reach out to you and contact you. Would it be better for them to email you, come by and see you? What would be your recommendation, or maybe all of the above, in terms of trying to initiate the process of looking into getting that loan?
Yes, really any of that is good. My cell phone is obviously the best way to reach me. I try to answer constantly, any time of the day, weekends, because when you're buying a home, you want to have the ability to prove that you're qualified immediately, especially if you're in competition with other people that are bidding on the home at the same time.
And another thing about you personally, that might help give folks around here who are looking for, in this region or in this market, that are looking for an opportunity to buy a home, is that you're from around here. You grew up around here. You know the area. You know what to be on the lookout for with your experience professionally, and then also just being familiar with the territory. Yes,
it does help, especially when you're trying to, estimate how much property taxes are going to be in certain areas or certain neighborhoods. It is helpful to kind of have some experience there, because a lot of times people do underestimate the cost of taxes now, and as well as homeowners insurance and how that affects their monthly payment.
When folks are listening to this right now and they're hearing you talk about some of these things, and they're thinking maybe to themselves, folks who might not be as familiar with this process, they're thinking, oh man, this is a lot to take in, a little overwhelming. What are some reassurances that maybe you can give on behalf of CBC Bank that we might be able to do to help simplify or personalize that experience for a customer?
Yeah, we're willing. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. We want to get the loan closed just as much as you, and we want to do it in the simplest, easiest fashion. So we're there to hold your hand, and a lot of people don't understand a lot about buying a home, so that's not uncommon. We're here to make it seem easy and do the best we can to really play as a mediator between, being qualified, getting a good rate, and getting the loan closed into the table, so that we can all end up at the same goal.
Communication, huge part of the process.
Yes.
And I know that, Brittny said she answers her phone, anytime. I know that, having an opportunity to sit in some meetings and be around her at work and things like that. Rarely are you around Brittny for an extended period of time where her phone is not ringing, and she's right there and ready to pick it up and help whoever's on the other end of the line. So
yes, I actually got to take a call right now. I'm just kidding.
Right in the middle of the podcast. We're going to peek behind the curtain here. I think it's just speaks to the level of customer service that we talk about all the time. We've talked about on every podcast so far about what CBC has to offer in terms of customer service, and just Brittny, another example of that right here. Brittny, tell us about, it's not fun to talk about, but I think it's important to talk about. So, we try and learn lessons from missed opportunities and mistakes that we make along the way. And maybe you can enlighten us on some mistakes that people make when budgeting for a home, so that they can hopefully not make that same mistake.
So recently, rates are relatively or comparably higher than they were several years ago. So it seems as if people are underestimating how much their monthly payment is going to be for a certain loan amount. And part of that is just the fact that when you're escrowing, your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance into your payment, and, those have gone up over the last few years, you forget how much that's going to impact your expected monthly payment. So I think really having that communication on the front end, like what is your goal payment? How can we get there? Because sometimes people qualify for much more than they actually want to qualify for, because they end up not wanting to have that high of a payment. So
Sure.
it's just really kind of making sure that on the front end, they know what to expect. If you're going to buy a $350,000 house, this is what kind of payment you're looking at. So a lot of times that is underestimated.
You mentioned the rates, and I know that's always something that everybody wants to talk about. Tell us about how current rates and the market can affect home buying right now in this period of time.
The rates obviously fluctuate on my types of loans every day, throughout the day. It's typically minor swings throughout the day, but the forecast is always changing. The experts are always trying to predict what's coming, and it at this point it is what it is, and everybody kind of keeps waiting around for the rates to improve, but really the rates are relatively low, and they have been lower than they were a year ago. But is it a huge difference? No, but a lot of times people keep waiting, and over time it's still creeping up slowly. And then you look back and you're like, man, I should have bought a house 2 years ago. So is that going to happen in 2 more years? Could be. You just don't know. But
right.
Now is the time to buy, because you really don't know what the future is going to hold.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Brittny, that's it. We're done. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us. I think this was a very informative episode for us and for our listeners. And again, if you are thinking about buying a home and you want to learn more about that process, or you are further along and you realize, hey, this is definitely something I want to do, Brittny and CBC Bank are here to help you with that process. And we would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us by calling us at 229-242-7600, and we'll get you in touch with Brittny, or you can swing by the branch. Brittny's office is at the main branch on North Valdosta Road, but we also have branches in Hayhira and Tifton and Moultrie and on Baytree. And again, swing by any of those branches and they can put you in touch with Brittny and help get you started on that home ownership, home purchasing journey. And again, we would love to help you with that. You can also learn more about what we have to offer on our website, which is cbcbank.com. We want to thank you again for tuning in to CBC Connect. This is your connection to smarter banking and a stronger community. If you found today's episode helpful, be sure to follow, like, or subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Brittny, thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it very much. If you're ready to open an account, explore loan options, or get one-on-one advice, you can stop by your local CBC branch or visit us anytime. Again, our website is cbcbank.com. Until next time, keep building what matters, and we will remain committed to you, our customer, our community.